Coming up on Cronkite News, guns, voting, city elections, and more. We have team coverage of a variety of legislative issues.
Plus, it was another wet Wednesday across the state, what we saw and what we can expect going forward.
And later, a big day for Arizona State men's hoops in March Madness. The Sun Devils prepare for their first four tip-off later tonight.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Alyssa Munoz.
And I'm Dylan Nichols. Thank you for joining us. A report by the Alzheimer's Association was released today revealing 6 million Americans are living with the disease. That number is projected to continue rising.
Cronkite News reporter Miriam Cristal has been looking through the report and says Arizona has the fastest growth rate for the disease in the country.
The report shows that by 2025, the number of Arizonans with the disease will likely increase by over 33%. The disease carries a huge monetary cost, including $414 million in Medicaid and over $27,000 per capita in Medicare spending. To keep up with the demand, the Alzheimer's Association predicts we'll need nearly 300% more health and personal care workers by 2050. What's most heart-wrenching is the increase in Alzheimer's deaths in the last 20 years. In 2019, over 3,000 people died in Arizona. That's an increase of almost 200%. This report was at the forefront of a press conference at the Capitol today where supporters were pushing SB 1220, a bill that would establish dementia services and an Alzheimer's statewide plan. I talked to both a researcher and a care partner, and they both agreed that the state needs an action plan.
Having no state plan, a delayed length of time to even get an appointment, to get diagnosed, all of this directly has an impact. And we know that the earlier we diagnose this condition, the more opportunity that we have for treatment and intervention.
Nothing's coordinated. It's all word of mouth, all referrals, that type of stuff. And so having a single state plan in place so that we would know, we'd kind of be able to go to that one place for the referrals out for resources depending on what our needs were.
This has bipartisan support where it will require anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 to enact. In the newsroom, Miriam Cristal, Cronkite News.
The first results were posted last night in the runoff election for the 2 seats on the Phoenix City Council. The initial count shows the 2 candidates endorsed by Mayor Kate Gallego in the lead. In District 6, Kevin Robinson faced off against Sam Stern. Robinson received over 62% of the initial vote drop, while Stone got the other 38%. Stone conceded the race and congratulated Robinson in a post on Twitter. District 8 saw a tighter start to the race, but Kesha Hodge Washington declared victory over incumbent councilman Carlos Garcia with 56% of the vote. Given the 2 candidates continue to lead after more of the vote count is released this evening. Robinson and Hodge Washington will start their 4-year terms on April 17th.
President Biden signed an executive order on gun control. The goal is to strengthen and reinforce existing law. Cronkite News reporter Yuri Hahn has more on how this could impact us in Arizona.
President Biden traveled to Monterey Park, California, where a recent mass shooting claimed the lives of 11 people. Biden went to grieve with the community and call on Congress to act. But Biden isn't waiting for Congress in his executive action. He calls for increasing the number of background checks, improve the use of red flag orders, and better tracking of firearms. Charles Heller is the co-founder for the Arizona Citizens Defense League. Heller says this order won't make anyone more safe.
You have to understand what causes people to misbehave and then go after the people who are misbehaving. You cannot go after the entire body of people and expect a positive result. This isn't intended to make anyone more safe. If you really want to know, this is not Mr. Biden's intent is not to make anyone more safe.
Biden says he still wants Congress to act. Specifically, he wants a ban on assault weapons and enact universal background checks. Here in Arizona, the legislature is continuing to push a bill requiring firearm education in schools. Cronkite News reporter Anna Stansfield explains why one representative thinks this is the best way to ensure children's safety.
House Bill 2332 would introduce optional gun safety training sessions in public schools and charter schools for students in grades 6 through 12. Representative Selena Bliss, the sponsor of this bill, says she just wants to ensure children's safety.
The problem this bill is trying to solve is firearm accident prevention through education.
This bill lets schools host one-time training sessions and parents can opt their child out. However, one student says that hosting these sessions at school makes them feel even less safe.
We're students, we're children, we don't have fully developed brains, and quite frankly, we shouldn't be teaching how to use lethal weapons in a place where we're supposed to be educated in things like math and science.
In 2022, there were about 350 accidental shootings by children that killed more than 150 people across the nation, according to Everytown, a gun safety advocacy organization. Representative Bliss says accidental shootings is one reason it is crucial for children to learn about firearm safety.
This is a non-controversial safety subject that teaches children safety topics such as when they see an untended firearm, depending on the age, to stop, don't touch, go find an adult.
Hansen felt strongly enough to speak to the legislature when the bill was in committee, saying these trainings would hinder her education.
This gun training would take away resources from our school's top priority and only responsibility.
In Phoenix, Anna Stansfield, Cronkite News.
Arizona representatives and senators held a press conference today to discuss their bill that would ban ranked choice voting in the state.
And I'm here to say a few things about ranked choice voting, which I would dub rigged choice voting.
Cronkite News reporter Shira Tanzer is live at the Capitol to explain why they feel this system of voting is not right for Arizona.
Ranked choice voting is a system where the winner is calculated based on if the candidate has the majority of the votes, not the most votes. Voters would rank candidates on their ballots ahead of time, and the candidate with the fewest amount of votes would be eliminated, and their votes redistributed to the other candidates based on the voter's second choice. The group of legislators that spoke here today say that this method would result in a lot of ballots being thrown out.
Ranked choice voting disenfranchises voters through its very unnecessary complexity and exhausted ballot scheme, which results in the silencing of significant portions of the electorate.
Austin Smith says ranked choice voting would result in politicians not having a firm stance on political issues and instead relying on being voters' second choice and getting extra votes that way.
Ranked choice voting doesn't want candidates to do that. They just want somebody who will go straight down the middle, take no position on everything, and then they'll just go with the political wins when it's time to make a decision. That's wrong for the citizens of Arizona, and it's wrong for the future of this constitutional republic.
Kern and Smith are both sponsors of the bill that would effectively ban ranked choice voting in Arizona. The bill has currently passed through the Senate and is in the process of moving through the House. It is now about to be read in 5 days, and if it passes through the House, it will end up on the desk of Governor Hobbs. At the Capitol, Shira Tanzer, Cronkite News.
Thank you, Shira. We go from the Capitol to the weather now, as flood warnings remain in effect for areas in Maricopa and Gila County, as well as up north.
Officials are warning folks to stay away from flooded river crossings, as snowmelt fills rivers and makes crossings dangerous. And there's snow melt on the way because it just won't stop snowing. This was the scene at Arizona Snow Bowl just a few hours ago. You can see the area getting even more flurries on top of what's already there.
And even the Valley is getting some last-minute winter weather. Take a look at ASU's Tempe campus, where students were in for a wet walk to class today, as some steady rain fell throughout most of the day. Let's continue to follow the rainy conditions here in the Valley.
Cronkite News reporter Anna Stansfield is outside in Phoenix with the gray skies still looming.
Yeah, as you can see, the skies are cloudy and the ground is still wet from the rain we saw earlier today. Although it has been warm these past couple of days, we're currently experiencing a cold front. More rain and thunderstorms are expected later this evening, so if you do plan on leaving the house, make sure you bring some rain gear. In downtown Phoenix, Cronkite News, Anna Stansfield, Cronkite News.
March Madness has arrived and the Wildcats of Arizona are in Sacramento gearing up for their opening round game.
And that's where we find Cronkite sports reporter Lindsay Zinti, who's there with the team.
As the #2 seed facing a number 15 seed, the Arizona Wildcats and Tommy Lloyd feel pretty confident about their matchup against Princeton tomorrow. Now, Tommy Lloyd and the Arizona Wildcats fell short last year in the Sweet 16 and lost multiple players to the NBA. This is March Madness, and as we know, anything can happen. So the Wildcats will look to key leaders like Azuolas Tubelis, who led the Pac-12 in the regular season in scoring and rebounds and was also named a Pac-12 tournament MVP and an All-American. So Tommy Lloyd is confident in his ability.
You know, if you win the Pac-12 tournament, you know, play 3 tough games, 3 consecutive days, and you're the MVP, I think you're playing pretty good. So I like where he's at, and he's had an amazing season, and I think he's got to focus to keep that going and make the most of this moment.
Azuolas Tubelis earlier today in the locker room, and he said with 1 year of experience in the tournament under his belt, he feels confident about his performance this year. Now the Wildcats will face off against Princeton tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. here in Golden One Center. Sacramento, California, Lindsay Zinti, Cronkite Sports.
Thank you, Lindsay. Coming up on Cronkite News, another drug maker is slashing its insulin prices. The move could mean hundreds in savings for those who are uninsured.
And later, as inflation slowly decreases across the country, gas prices in Arizona continue to rise. How much you can expect to pay at the pump.
And we have a storm moving through the valley right now, but we're expecting more rain coming up. All this and more after the break.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station. I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios. I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
It was another wet Wednesday across the valley as many areas saw steady rain and even a little snow.
Sarah Blue joins us now from the Cronkite News Weather Center. Sarah, what can we expect heading into tomorrow?
Well, we've had a pretty wet Wednesday today. This is what we've received across the valley as of 1 p.m. today. It's been mostly concentrated up toward the north with areas like Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, and Fountain Hills getting 0.2 inches of rain. An outstander was Wickenburg with 0.3. Here in the Phoenix Metro, we've only seen 1.2 inches, but that's as of 1 p.m. today. We're expecting more as we continue through the overnight hours. As the storm comes in, we're expecting between 0.2 and 0.5 inches of rain here in the valley. The bulk of the storm is coming through between 6 p.m. and midnight tonight, but it's going to hang around a little bit through the overnight hours and the morning hours tomorrow, when we're expecting a little bit of snow and ice up in the high country in areas near Flagstaff and Window Rock. Now, the issue with this storm is there's a possibility of flooding everywhere in the screen. There's a flood warning in place. That's from now all the way through Thursday evening. With all of this rain and snowmelt, there could be a possibility of flooding and some hazardous driving conditions. So if you're out on those roadways, be sure that you turn around and don't drown. This is all caused by an atmospheric river that's moving into the state. As it picked up a bunch of warm, moist air near the tropics, that's everything in that's blue, that's coming into the state, creating those perfect conditions for those storms and the possibility of flooding in Arizona. But with all of that moisture, we won't get as cold overnight. We'll only see those 50s in the overnight hours. 71 with a chance of rain tomorrow. We'll see sun returning on Friday, but a chance of storms on the weekend. As we move through the rest of the week, we'll see those 70s with a little bit of sun and a bit of clouds for the rest of the week. For the Cronkite News Weather Center, I'm Sarah Blue.
Thank you, Sarah. More good news for people who need insulin as another large supplier announced it's slashing prices. Drug maker Novo Nordisk said yesterday that it will cut list prices for some insulin pens and vials by up to 75%. This comes just 2 weeks after Eli Lilly announced similar price cuts. Reducing list prices helps people who have not met their deductibles or who are uninsured. The high cost of insulin has been in the spotlight for years, and recently, the Biden administration has been pushing for lower prices. The changes are set to take place at the beginning of next year.
The Consumer Price Index, which is a key way to measure inflation, dropped on Tuesday, and inflation has fell for 8 straight months. But gas prices in Arizona are up. Arizona is in the top 5 for highest current gas prices in the country. The national average is $3.46, while a gallon in the valley costs almost 50 cents more at $3.95. Experts expect prices to continue to rise until May, while oil refineries in Southern California are undergoing maintenance.
I'm Sammy Miller. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. We know about ASU men's basketball in the big dance, but how about Sun Devil women's hockey? Find out what's at stake for the Sun Devils as they compete in the national tournament.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection of documentaries from award-winning filmmaker Ken Burns.
Hemingway, the man, is much more interesting than the myth.
It is a story that Americans have to reckon with.
He's got my job. I'm the champ.
Discover over 40 groundbreaking films that bring our history to life. Stream the Ken Burns collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Sammy Miller. Today is the day for ASU men's basketball. Day 2 of the NCAA First Four will be wrapped up tonight as the Sun Devils take on Nevada with hopes of securing an 11th seed in the big dance. Arizona State enters tonight as a small favorite over the Wolfpack, and head coach Bobby Hurley feels that his team has done everything to prove that they belong. Graduate guard Desmond Cambridge Jr. credits Hurley for inspiring him and his teammates to compete.
You know, we had the gauntlet, you know, at the end, just having to go on the road and play Arizona and the LA schools, and then, you know, have to win multiple games in the Pac-12 tournament.
With a guy who's, you know, has done as much as Coach Hurley has done, you know, as a player, that really means a lot because you can really take his word for what it is. And, you know, he's been through a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations, especially playing for a big name program like Duke.
That game tips off tonight at 6:10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But let's talk about another ASU team making moves in the postseason, the women's club hockey program. They're playing in its first ever national championship tournament in Boston tomorrow. Joseph Furtado caught up with the team before they took off.
Arizona State's women's hockey is a club team that is solely funded by the players. They compete at the Division I level in the American Collegiate Hockey Association and was built from the ground up by head coach Lindsay Ellis.
I saw some of my guy friends win a national championship at ASU, and it was kind of thought started that why couldn't us girls stay home and do the same thing?
The team is having its best season in program history and recently punched their ticket to nationals for the first time after winning the Western Women's Collegiate Hockey League. The players are excited about the club's growth and are hoping to follow in the steps of the Sun Devils men's hockey team.
Eventually they started mixing in Division III and Division I teams into their schedule when they were ACHA still, so that's obviously something we want to do in the next 5 to 10 years.
For now, all eyes are on what's in front of them at Nationals, where the Sun Devils will be the 7th seed entering the tournament. The players are thankful for the support they've received so far and hope it helps set the foundation for years to come.
It's really paying off by seeing how much of an impact we've made and how widespread our impact is by all of the people all over Arizona helping us on our journey to nationals.
It just says that we're growing and that we've got huge things ahead of us and we're really just getting started. I think that's a big thing, that we've made our initial goal, but we're not stopping now, and we've still got a lot of work to do, and I think it's really exciting.
The Sun Devils will open the tournament against Maryville on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The women are hoping to pull off what the men's team did back at the National Championship in 2014. In Tempe, Joseph Hurtado, Cronkite Sports.
Spring football kicked off this week for Arizona State. It's a new era under head coach Kenny Dillingham, who brings new energy and excitement to the program. Cronkite Sports reporter Jack Pearson shows us how ASU's culture is rapidly changing.
Coach Kenny Dillingham and his new staff and new players are ready to embrace the new tradition and new culture here at Arizona State.
Dillingham does a great job bringing that passion every single day, and you can see it in our kids and you can see it in our coaches, and that's the effort part, the intensity part, the passion, the love for football that you need to have in order to be successful.
I feel like he's just bringing in a new sense of energy, and so now we're just like every day is fun. Like I remember last year towards like the end of the season, like coming into the building, a lot of guys we'd be like dragging around, like ready for it to be over with. But now, like every day we come into the building, everybody has a ton of energy. It's all fun.
Having the youngest coach in Power 5 football, he comes to practice every day. He comes to workouts every day and is ready to go. So I think that's just the mentality we kind of have to carry over as players. I think it's going to be a group that can shock a lot of people. Obviously after this kind of disappointing last year.
Coach Kenny Dillingham said today that the team has little expectations. They just want to get better each and every single day, coming off a disappointing season last year. In Tempe, Jack Pearson, Cronkite News.
And Live Golf is kicking off. It's making its debut in Tucson this week, bringing in many Sun Devil alumni. Been a PGA Tour event since 2014 in Tucson, Live Golf continues to expand its tour into new markets, filling in the void. Despite a rainy practice round to start the week, former Sun Devil and High Flyers captain Phil Mickelson says he's excited to be back in Tucson.
Tucson has been a great place for me. It's where I won my first professional event in 1991 as an amateur, and I have fond memories of coming back here. And so to participate here and bring Live Golf to Tucson is exciting for me and everybody else involved with Live.
Well, that's it for today's edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Sammy. Coming up after the break, NASA astronauts are getting a new look.
We're getting our first look at the new spacesuits set to make their debut when humanity takes its first walk on the lunar surface in over 50 years.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News.
Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Now on Passport.
What are you looking for in your life?
There's an important story that needs to be told.
Is it a sense of your own destiny?
Choose your story.
Try to help create change in some way.
It's a beautiful thing. Not very many people get to see.
Once you come into the neighborhood, you are a part of the family.
You can be a good person or a bad person. It's your choice.
Stop complaining and go actually do something.
Now you can stream even more documentaries with Passport on the PBS Video app.
NASA's Artemis 3 mission will mark humanity's first trip to the moon in over 50 years.
The mission is still over 2 years away, but today NASA unveiled the spacesuits that astronauts will wear when they explore the lunar surface. The spacesuits were designed by the company Axiom. The design gives astronauts a lot more mobility than on previous missions. They also have a wide, clear bubble to see out of what allows them to see more. They even have a spot to mount a high-definition camera.
Astronauts are set to use these suits in 2025 to explore the moon's south pole. And if you're wondering, the company says it will stick with the tradition and make the suits white in color ahead of the Artemis mission. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.